is Tom Wyner, and oh no, please sit.
He's not gonna get to.
Come on, Aaron, get up here.
Grab the
And
mic.
I am a voice actor.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Dave.
I'm Dave Mallow. I played Barney, the rough but lovable next-door neighbor. Oh, that was a different show. I was one of Rita's crew as Babu, who has a new job on late-night TV.
For free easy payment in 1995, you too can have Mighty Morphin guns with Babu's bodacious bicep burners.
And also the guy that started and ended each show with, will an actor in a cheesy rubber suit be shot at a low angle? So he was taller and less pathetic. Find out next on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I didn't realize we were doing what you're supposed to say.
I did General Havoc and General Furio, and you might know my voice from another series.
Oh, wait, I wanted to...
Will the Digidestined find out what the Emperor is up to? Find out next time on Digimon. Which, plug in for Dave, I took over that tag announce from Dave, who did it the first season.
Stole his job. Nice.
And Punchy Pig.
I'm David Stenstrom. I was King Mondo on Power Rangers Zero.
I was his son, Prince Rocket!
And Orbis.
And Rita!
I'm Tony Oliver. I was Saba, the Talking Sword, and the Wizard of Deception.
Ooh, hey everybody, it's me, Squad, Mike and Sorry. Not to mention the Rapping Pumpkin! And the Terrible Toad.
And I'm Brianne Brozey. Rangers, there's a mutant down by the power plant! Go get him! Run!
And I played Tony the
I'm Richard Epcar, and I was the original Pink Ranger,
Yeah.
and I did a bunch of monsters.
Give us a monster scream. Yes. Give us a little.
Come on. Ah! We want to taste.
Well, you should sit on a panel with too many directors, I'll tell you. I don't know, I did Barber X, you remember that guy? And the guy with the big bowling ball. And,
Oh, nice.
Good, you can tell them how it sounds.
yeah.
Oh, come on! I'm just saying like we remember that stuff. You guys saw that. I love the balls, all right?
Anyway, and I do a ton of other shows too. You may know me from Bato, Ghost in the Shell, you know, that show, and Ansem, and Kingdom Hearts, and a few other things. And Kerrigan, and Digimon, and a bunch of other stuff.
I'm Wendee Lee, and I was the voice of Scorpina. And I was also,
Hi, guys! Morning, Rangers! We're about to crash!
Alpha 6.
My name is Neil Kaplan. You might best know me as the voice of... I've never gotten to do Bullwinkle screw. I wish. So if you know anybody who's involved in Jay Ward's estate, send them my way. You know me as the Robert Eagle Diabolico. Oozlings and lots of monsters a week, blah, blah, blah. And as long as we're throwing down other things. For a few weeks, I was Optimus Prime on Transformers. And for the gamers, Richard and I both worked on StarCraft 2, so you might know the voice of Takis J.
Yeah!
Hey, it's about damn time.
It's gotta be good now.
It's okay, admitting it is the first stage.
Oh my God, guys, I don't know, man.
Kerrigan, Mahan. We know Goldar, right? We do it. You want to hear it? Yeah. That's what I did to warm up before I
Yes, Empress. Why do I say yes, Empress, so many times?
And you guys, I don't know where or what. Trailers, promos, commercials, or what else? I don't know. Bunta. I love Bunta. Does anybody see that show?
Yeah.
Initial D? You buy it at Target, I think, or something, right? That was my, I love that guy with that cigarette just hanging out of his mouth. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go check him out later today. You know, you put the cigarette in your mouth when you're doing it too, wagging all the time. Very politically incorrect.
Nice.
That's what I liked about it. Yeah, no, I'm actually Magna Defender. He was kind of the same guy, very reeled in and introspective. Much unlike myself.
And then you woke up.
I'm gonna pass the buck.
I'm Robert Axelrod. I did the voice of Goodson. I'm Mister. Oh, my queenie. I'm going to make you a puzzle monster.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Forstadt, and I did a bunch of various voices from the very beginning of the, we did background voices from the very beginning of the series all the way to the end. So I did various monsters, a computer voice. I'm best known for my part in Robotech as Minmay, Mihoshi and Tenchi Muyo. And I wrote 3 years on Digimon. And I was a putty, so this is how we did that.
Nobody escaped being a buddy.
It's grown men and women doing, and we got money.
Oh, and I had a tortoise that was in Power Rangers. He played one of the evil Ninja Turtles. Real life tortoise. Okay, questions?
As an aspiring actor and voiceover in particular, I've been doing a lot over the last how many years. I'm just curious, like, what kind of training, if any, you guys have done, and what you would recommend as far as.
Well, I'd recommend my class, which is available for.
Can we get through the questions?
That basically is the gist of it.
Okay.
No, train as an actor. Really, train as an actor. I think pretty much everyone on this panel would say that. Train as an actor, and be a good actor, and then learn voice acting and how to, to work with mic and that sort of thing. Because it's important when you get in there. A lot of people say, "Oh, people tell me I've got a good voice or whatever," and they get in the booth and they can't read dialogue and make it sound natural or real. So it's really important to if you want to do this kind of work, to be able to act, and then when you get in the booth, it makes a lot more sense.
You want to build your credits, start performing and understand what it's like to take on another human experience and to be able to slip into the shoes of that character and recreate. And really, the underwear is very critical. You've got to be sure that you're in their underwear too. It's just, it's for some reason there seems to be a divide in people's thinking about being an on-camera actor, stage actor, or voiceover actor. It's all acting. It's all coming from the same really organic place, and it requires you need skill for all of that. But to voice act, you need an additional set of technical skills to be able to understand how to sync to picture and to be familiar with hearing your voice and not be cringing every time you hear it, which everybody goes through in the beginning. And everybody else is going to have.
Syncing the picture, of course, is only a fun.
There's something, I don't think anybody's brought it up, and it's really a cool thing. Dave Sebastian Williams, I can't think of what he calls that store now. Dave, but there's another, well, anyway. It's in Los Angeles, it's in North Hollywood. He puts out a pamphlet, is it called The Board?
Yeah, voiceover resource guide.
Okay, the voiceover resource guide. anybody that wants to, and you go ahead and register for that. Go down, he has all studio facilities, they make demos. But that book, see, today is very different from 10 years ago. Everybody is teaching, which is a problem, because you want to know who's the real deal. So you kind of got to nose around and figure that out. And they're also teaching now all categories. I mean, there are even teachers that are teaching a thing called looping, which is kind of crazy in and of itself, because nobody can get into looping. But that's all fine and dandy. I'm just saying that book is a Bible, and that's something you want to get. And
if you know anybody that is doing it, and this is for all of you, who are interested in doing this, any kind of work in a studio, one of the most, the first thing that everybody comes across is intimidation of going into that place and standing in front of a microphone and understanding learning the process and not being very unsure of yourself. The first thing that you should do is find someone, anyone with a connection to someone or a friend who does it, or if you know a professional who does it, and ask to accompany them to a session. And promise that you'll be very quiet. Now, some directors won't allow it, but a lot of them will. I mean, I certainly always did. People wanted to sit with me and watch the process being done. Once you see it being done and understand how, what the process is, it's a lot less intimidating, and you'll be a lot less nervous the first time you do go in for an audition or try to do the work.
That's true. And another thing too is improv is extremely important, just to be able to fly on the cuff, come up with stuff real quick. I also recommend, especially because sometimes these classes are very expensive, your local college has a lot of classes on basic theater, basic acting, vocal production, at improv, any kind of way you can get any kind of training, especially that kind of stuff, just learn. And just practice.
Make a list of the characters that you think you can do and really work on them, get the voice down from listening to them, take things off the TV or movies that you like. And also a good thing, a trick is if you're a man, to find some female characters and turn it around, and same for women, to do a lot of women can do Sean Connery, and it's an interesting voice. And
A lot of women have done
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Epcar with another Scottish line. I would just say, get your newspaper, pull out 3 sections of paper that you never read, and read them out loud for 10 minutes a day. Really good to stretch yourself. Next question, please.
Or even better, do your community a service, reading for the blind and dyslexic, or your local Braille Institute. It's a great way to do exactly what Michael was saying, where you're reading stuff, but somebody else is benefiting from you doing it.
Yeah, they need readers, that's true.
They do, constantly.
Also, work at home with a tape recorder or an MP3. Get used to listening to your voice, because you're going to hear it in the headphones when you go in audition in the studio. And the great way to read commercial copy is to pull them out of magazines. You'll see it. The writing in magazines on ads are very doable as copy to read.
Yeah, done a lot of theater work.
And if you want to be an instant voiceover actor, do a podcast, and then start selling stuff on the internet. If you want to be a really good voice actor, do all the rest of the stuff.
Basically, everybody's moving to a home studio, and it doesn't cost anything to speak of at all. You can pick up a microphone, very cheap these days, a very decent microphone for a couple $100. I'm working right now with a thing called a Centrex Pro, and all it does is screw right into the bottom of the mic and plugs right into my computer. And it is broadcast quality. It's what all the journalists are using all over CNN, and it's the size of a shotgun shell. It just screws right in, so you can put a home studio together with a little separator and some foam, and you can do anything. And you use it and listen to yourself on real stuff.
Do not use the shotgun shell.
I wanted to add one thing to that, kind of another note on that whole thing. You know, the thing that really kind of makes a huge difference is that a lot of, you know, everything everybody up here said is great. But the thing that's really going to make the difference between you getting the job and somebody else getting the job is bringing yourself to that character. Because a lot of times people try to come in and go, I can do all these characters that are already being done. Like, I can do all the Disney characters. Well, no one gives a crap because they're already being done. And, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying those are great to train and maybe try to do those things and have a good ear. It's always good if you have a good ear for this stuff. But the thing that's going to really make you stand out is to bring your own personality. And everybody is unique and interesting in their own way. So if you can bring your own stuff to the character, that's what makes a difference between you and 20 other guys trying to do the same kind of voice or character.
My question is for Neil Kaplan. I just want to know what the like when you were playing Diabolical versus Pluto, how did you feel going from like the main villain to a sort of a sidekick? Yes.
Well, look, I mean, most of us, a lot of us, our experience on Power Rangers was we started off, like Becky was saying, you know, in this little troupe that would get together and maybe somebody would play a villain for the week, but we'd basically be in a room and be little sidekicks, and we'd watch the scene one time, and then it's like, go clockwise, you're first, you're second, and we'd handle the fight. So, look, being a sidekick villain for a series, for a season, by the time I was doing that, I was happy to have regular work. I mean, let's be honest. If I wanted to get my ego involved, and the one thing about Gluto that bummed me out was I thought I had a pretty decent character, and they pitched me down. And it was like, well, why don't you let me try to pitch it down a little bit? Don't electronically help me. So that's the only reason I didn't like playing Gluto as much as Diabolico. But look, we're actors, you know, give me the opportunity to be on set and get paid for the day, I'm a happy man. So I appreciate you trying to think that it was like a difference going from a lead to a sidekick. It was work. Yay! Thank you.
For those of you that are on Digimon, how is it different from Power Rangers? Like doing monsters versus...
Valencia versus...
So much better.
One's an animated show.
I just want to say real quick, I love Digimon because for me, I got to play these two wonderful, Myotismon and Edamon, and Edamon was Elvis. So I got to be Elvis and sing, which I never got to do on any other show, so that was fun.
It was a different style. There was a similarity. As you can see, there's a core of very friendly, almost like family working together. So it was
Dysfunctional.
very. And we were still cranking through what we kind of decided yesterday in a panel was like the studio system for Saban, where when you were working within that company, you would perhaps work Power Rangers in the morning, Digimon in the afternoon, Beetleborgs, Sweet Valley High. Most of us worked on all the shows in some way or another. So you would just switch the style up, but you were still working with a similar staff, and it was kind of cool, and it was a little easier in that it was smaller characters in some cases, and you know it wasn't as much live action fighting, but that's not entirely true because all the monsters still did what we call throat rippers, where you just scream until you don't have anything left, in the studio. So it's tough.
There are no small actors, just small characters.
I have to say for myself, I love doing both. Digimon, I tended to work a little more just because there's a lot more wording and dialogue. With Power Rangers, it was, pretty limited in terms of what you're saying. You're not saying big diatribes of dialogue, and we had a lot more control because the writing could either make it longer or shorter, depending on how they filmed it. So in Digimon, things were just sort of set in a way because they were already done. We were there just replacing the voices from Japanese versions.
Digimon was a little easier. I was Salamon and some Keiko or something.
You were a cake?
She was a kid. I was some boy. Anyway. Salamon or something. Anyway. Rita was harder to dub because it was a human being and it was Japanese and she had a big mouth to fill. But that's what I'm sticking to.
By the time we got to Power Rangers, many of us, most of us here, had done 10 or 11, 12 shows for Saban. Most animated, there was, Hello Spencer. But basically, and the process was the same for everything. And then it came time to do Power Rangers. It was just another show. It was another gig. But the difference was that it was half Japanese, half American. There were two shows, really. And we knew there were kids in spandex and a bulk and a skull somewhere, but we were in the Japanese show. And we have Tony Oliver to thank for that, because when it came time to do the presentation, we didn't even have to audition. You know, thanks to this guy. Well, okay. But early in the show, very, very early, it was just another show that came down the assembly line. And when it took off,
Well, I'm told this has to be cast by this afternoon.
it was all done very, very quickly. So anyway, we have this guy to thank, otherwise you'd be looking at different faces up here.
Maybe they are anyway. Who was it that just said that the Digimon had it had more real dialogue? You know? Yeah. And that did make it fun because it was written pretty well, and it was fun to do those lines and to actually be having. I mean, in Digimon I played Devimon, you know, which was one of my favorite characters. He was very evil and low, but he spoke articulately. You know, he wasn't. Whereas on Power Rangers, my sessions often consisted of coming in and going, and then growing and going, and then going. That was it. That was the whole session. You come in as a little monster, you go to a big monster, and then you die. Whereas Digimon was a lot more complex than that.
It was a social occasion where we got paid to have fun.
Yeah.
Come on, Scott!
Now coming to the stage, the chief ADR director and producer of Power Rangers, Scott Page-Pagter! Sponsored by Bushmills.
Yeah, I felt that Digimon was for a slightly younger audience. It just had that feel to it. Yeah, Power Rangers was getting pretty sophisticated, at least for my characters. Lord Ted and Finster, as opposed to Armadillomon and Wizardcon, where Armadillomon was quite childish. But that was an English.
Yeah, should we take maybe? I didn't do Digiman. I don't know what happened. I just.
Maybe because it's called Digimon. That's why they hired you. This has been the wonder years, Gary.
But I promoted Sweet Valley High, and I was the attack beast on Team Knight Rider. I remember. All right, what else?
You can submit your resume at the door.
I did already.
Scott just pointed out that this is the first time that we've all been together assembled for the first time in many, many years, and that's because of you all. Yes. And thank you so much for having
Before we go on, in case you guys don't know, this group of nut jobs up here, the majority of us, have done for the last, how many, 30 years, have been doing this stuff together in different forms, and it's really good to see all of it.
It's Mr.
And you love us.
And I love you guys ridiculous.
You love us. Tell them about new dubbing,
Stupid dubbers.
Tell them new dubbing.
Who hasn't heard? You guys heard about new dubbing already, right?
You guys heard about this?
Okay, well,
Why are we telling them this?
you guys probably have pictures. I have pictures. If you want to see them, come over to the place. It's pretty funny. But I started a thing a long time ago with Steve Kramer. I think it was the first time, and sitting behind a booth up here like with Kerry is, and took my shirt off and said, "Okay, Steve, let's do the next loop." And he looked over and passed out because he thought I was naked. And he looked naked and standing there. So we called this new dubbing, and then continued throughout.
I think there was a little more to that.
When I hear the word Steve Kramer and nude together, I just
Okay, since they opened that can of worms, as I recall, it was whenever the really cute on-camera girls would come in for their looping, and they would say, you know, it sounds great, but your blouse is really noisy. We're having trouble with that. You know, I think if you took off your blouse, it would be a little... Maybe that's how it started.
casting couch still exists, okay? So let's just call a spade a spade.
Okay, sure. What's your question, sir? I'd love to answer.
What did you enjoy better? Did you enjoy being behind the scenes of playing squat? Or did you enjoy being Woody on screen with VR?
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. It's certainly different things, and I was lucky enough thanks to Scott. Scott's a very generous person, guys. I want you to know that. Scott now works at Mattel, and he is taking care of all of us in his own little way, knowing that things have changed for everyone. And I'd like to thank Scott Pagter for a lot of opportunities that he gave all of us.
I agree.
A lot of opportunities. And part of that was that Wendee and I were lucky enough, we'd be on the night shift for Power Rangers. We would get to direct. We would direct the ADR when Scott would go home. Sometimes, not all the time, but and Richard did as well, and Tom, of course, was directing as well, and Tony did a lot of directing. But the point is, when you're directing, it's different, because then, in a sense, you have more control of the mud pie that you are making, because you really, in a sense, you know, Saban was really big on getting people their checks on a regular basis. Not paying people a lot of money, but giving them large opportunities to take up large parts of responsibility. So you would get to do more than you would, say, in a big studio like Fox or a bigger studio like NBC. Obviously, there's a lot more higher-ups that kind of filter down what goes on and what ends up on the screen. So in being a director, you got a lot more control than when you were the actor. Obviously, I was subject to Bob Hughes, who was most of the time the producer of the show and also had other people directing. So I enjoyed playing Woody a lot. It was a lot of fun to work with that cast of people. Especially Caitlin was a lot of fun. She was a blast to work with. Michael Bacon was kind of a laid-back guy, and Brett was like just funny Texas guy. He was a lot of fun to play around. Yeah, Brad Hawkins. Yeah. So anyway, I would say. That's a tough one. I would say squat, but squat can be really crazy with Scott, and you know, so it's a different kind of crazy. In one, you got to kind of focus, and the other one, it was more unfocused. And actually, there's a story where one time I get a call from, they said, Chaim Saban wants to see you. Well, you know, that's a big deal to us. So I got, you know, in those days, he was in a building in Westwood, and most of the production officers were down on the 6th or 7th floor. He said, you got to go upstairs and see Chaim. He was on the 25th floor, was it? 25th floor, he had his own big suite in there. You know, you had to go past the executive secretary.
14 guards.
And then, past the Uzis. You know, this guy, he was very heavy with the Israelis, and he wasn't getting around. And when Netanyahu came to Los Angeles, he'd go visit him, then he'd go visit the president, you know. So anyway, the point is, after, you know, the 18 doors, like, get smart going through all that, I go in there, and he goes, and he's on the phone, he's like, yeah. Well, add 2 zeros and we'll talk. And he hangs up the phone. He goes, Michael, you're doing the Woody Stocker. I want you to say you had this line. We saw it in the dailies. You said, what an idea. Yeah, that's what I said. Yes, well, I don't want you to say it that way. I want you to say, what an idea. What? Say, what an idea. What an idea. Okay, you can go. Bye. That was it. That was what he was.
You also played Jeb.
I was Jeb.
He was.
I was Jeb, the talking dog.
He was.
I love that character. Did they really put peanut butter in his mouth? I don't know. I talk to my dog. I don't have to put peanut butter in his mouth. Anyway.
That dog was so constipated.
There were 2 of them. 2 or 3 of them, right?
Where's the name Skippy?
What were some of your initial reactions to the roles that you were casting?
Yeah. All the reactions were,
Thank God! Yeah, I don't have a negative. All positive on that.
I think we gauged them by how much screaming they had. It was, you know, okay, can I see the whole scene? Is he gonna die yet? No, he's gonna live to see another day, or okay, I'm gonna build up to this big fighting scene and then I'm gonna let my voice rip and that's it. Can't work for the rest of the day. Or the next day, possibly.
First, I'll tell you about these guys a little bit. That they were amazing in the studio, and every single person. Most of the times I wouldn't show them the scene, Wendy's line. If it was a big thing, of course, certain people here had to see, oh, I want to see the scene. But the good ones, just go for it. Everyone had done it so many times. We'd say, okay, it's 10 seconds fighting, go, boom. And 99% of the time they got it. No, the big fight scenes, he gets at bigger parts. But the monsters du jour would be, okay, you're gonna be done in an hour. Let's go. Do you have time to say, no, I'm busy, I gotta be at the racquetball player. So it was true. I'd conduct and go. First off, you guys give me all this credit, thank you, but Tony got me going here and this stuff. When Tony decided he was too good for the part, and I had to go up the ladder. No, Tony was moving up the ladder and he had me come in, and I can't thank him enough for getting that going, and it worked out fantastic.
Props to Tony Oliver.
I did a lot of the monsters du jour. I probably did, I don't know how many I'm credited with, but I'd say I probably did 15 or 20 of them. And you would always, sometimes you'd get to a monster that would last 2 or 3 episodes. You're like, hey, wait, they're keeping around, this is great. And then you turn the page on the cue page, and there'd be a thing that says, reacts and dies. And you knew that was the effing end of your part. No!
This is so good.
Usually if there was a huge monster, Scott would call me in there. Usually it's a big one. Call Epcar a big one.
I was always excited to get stuff. When Scott would call me and say, you got 5 minutes to get here or it's going somewhere else. So I would get there. Luckily, I lived down the street.
No pressure.
And sometimes I'd walk, bicycle, or drive. It was fun.
Wish we tell them about the burping thing that we did yesterday, but I don't know if these guys heard about it.
Burping.
Oh yeah, there was one time I was directing the ADR, and we had this burping monster, and Bree came in, and we had to get a case of root beer for her. And basically, every line she would have to take a big swig of root beer, and she would say the line as a burp. And I was like turning green by the end of the session. But I don't know, you did an amazing job, and it sounded incredible. There's no way, I don't even think you could do it electronically, what she did. It was just incredible. And you must have gained like 50 pounds from all that soda you drank, but that was amazing. That was an incredible, she did a great job.
She's stunning for me several times.
And I was just going to say, Bree was
because I can't do it.
Bree is our official stand-in burper. I mean, for every session I've ever had, we'd be like, oh, there's a belch, okay, Bree, we need to get Bree. Whistling and other skills. She's our in-house pro at all that stuff. The other thing I was going to say is that for the women, there were very few female monsters. So we were always waiting. Is it a guy? Is it a girl? It's another guy.
And then for parting, we used Sorich. Anyway, no, after that one.
Well, let's pass on that.
Here's a trivia question. In season 1, what 2-time, maybe 3-time, as of tonight, Emmy winner played 2 monsters in the first season? Anybody?
I know.
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston. Yeah. And Alex Borstein from Family Guy also.
Bryan Cranston rule.
I'm sure it's Brian's finest hour too.
Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad rules. Breaking Bad won't be, I think the 4th season starts.
It's not for Bryan
I
Cranston.
don't care, I love Bryan Cranston. Next year, okay, come on.
Question.
Question, sorry.
My question is, have you guys ever done a voice that's really just torn up their throat?
Oh yeah.
Every day.
Barbara has the record because everything her character said was screaming.
Yeah, actually, Tony's,
We actually had to get a special microphone for Barbara because her voice was so loud and piercing it would overmodulate the microphones we had, and they couldn't handle it.
And she got the rest of us more money.
Yes, she did.
And also, Barbara has this thing that her voice does. This is serious. She sends out a sound, and it's it's not a trill, it's almost like a chord. It's 2 different tones. And yeah, it's the oddest thing in the world. This
Mel Blanc has that too.
Where's that microphone?
Brian Cranston was also on tape.
I wanted to say that this thing about Barbara's voice, I was in the studio at one point and they had a spectroscope in there. And the guy said, come in here, I want to show you your voice. He said, you have an 8-bit or byte voice. And on the spectroscope, there were 8, when I spoke, there were 8 different lines going across the scope. Whereas with other characters, there was 1, 2, or 3. And I'm sure that if Barbara, if you had gone through that, it would have been the same thing, because you put out that dual tonality. There's a guy named Frank Welker, I don't know if you know his name, who is the most amazing voice artist, and the reason is, as I understand, and maybe this is an urban myth, as I understand it, it's because he can use one vocal cord at a time. Which is why he could do like the scrubbing bubbles, Dow scrubbing bubbles, you know, those little really high-pitched electronic sound. That was him. But yeah.
Can you see why these guys need a director, by the way?
Good point. Like, is there anything in particular that you guys do sometimes to prepare yourself for playing a certain voice? Like, I know, like myself doing some voices, I find like drinking a certain thing will make my voice have a different quality than if I were to be drinking something.
Scotch. Number one, there are a lot of food things you should not eat before you work. Anything with like cornstarch, like if you go to like Yama, the noodle bowl place, that stuff is really bad for your throat because it's hard to get it off your vocal cords. A lot of people don't do well with dairy. A lot of people, if you know you're going to be screaming a lot, then you should probably drink a lot of water because your vocal cords will be affected by it. If you're not hydrated well, you're going to have a tougher time. Also, I'm sure we've all done a study about the different cough drops that work. Sometimes too much menthol can dry out your throat. I prefer Golden Throat. I think it's about the best product on the market. Steve Bloom found it. And
Gold Dark Throat.
Yeah. And so does Kerrigan. Yeah, so there's a lot of things, but it's kind of individual, and you'll find out as you try it. Yes.
I'd just like to add to that real quickly that, it's very important that you warm your voice up before you go in the booth. A lot of actors don't do that. They just go in and start doing stuff, and that really plays havoc with your throat ultimately. So it really is essential, I think, that you warm up your voice before you go in, especially if you're going to be doing something that's demanding, like yelling and screaming, that sort of thing.
I want to add to that I use 2 vocal exercises to warm up. One is to trill an R and do this sound at the same time, which makes your whole mouth come alive. The other is
it makes it sound like you got a good car too.
Yeah. The other thing is a tongue twister that my father taught me when I was 5 years old. Theophilus Thistle, the successful thistle sifter, was sifting a sieve full of unsifted thistles, thrust 3,000 thistles through the thick of his thumb. Now, if Theophilus Thistle, the successful thistle sifter, was sifting a sieve full of unsifted thistles, thrust 3,000 thistles through the thick of his thumb, see that thou, while sifting a sieve full of unsifted thistles, thrust not 3,000 thistles through the thick of thy thumb. Success to the successful thistle sifter.
I was going to say also too, basically breath control, the more you breathe, because you can get a lot more air out of, obviously, diaphragm breathing. And then the thing like Thomas said, like, you kind of bring it up, down and up.
And schedule your screechy stuff after you have an audition for it.
There's also another thing is keeping the voice out of your throat. I mean, we're all doing all these monsters, and the Goldar is the most amazing. But it sounds like it's way down here in the throat, but it's really placing the voice in a different place and keeping this relaxed. You want your throat and your larynx is relaxed, and like place it up in your head a little bit. When I scream, I put it way up here. It's not really happening down in my throat. It's happening up behind my nose. So that's another thing that keeps your voice going. And if you always place your voice outside of your throat, you'll last a lot longer, and you'll have a lot more versatility when you're trying to act.
Apples.
Apples. Green apples.
Yeah, green apples for smacking.
Apples.
Eat a lot of Cheetos.
Everybody's voice is different. Truly, everybody's voice is different. I studied opera for about 2 years, and I realized I didn't.
Sing it, baby.
I used to sing fake opera, and that's a whole other story, but it was a lot of fun. Anyway, the point I'm making is everybody's voice is different. And an opera teacher said to me when I realized I did not want to do opera, sing opera, I wanted to sing rock and roll. And Springsteen was my hero, and this dude said, my friend, Bruce Springsteen will not have a voice in 5 years. That was 1972.
So what happened to the Springsteen guy?
So, back to the Goldar thing, it took me, and everybody said, you know, you've all commented, somebody else did Goldar in the first season, and no, they didn't. It was me trying to figure out how to make this thing work, because I picked this voice that was not working. And so I practiced to find that placement that Tony's talking about. There's a lot of air. There's a lot of air in Goldar, and I could get it in about 45 minutes of straight recording. But after that, I even had to, you know, that was it. That was it for him.
How often would you do it?
I could do Goldar every day.
And just like it's only 45 minutes?
About 45 minutes.
Just briefly, I did a role. If you have a job, I did a role once where I established a really gravelly voice in the throat, thinking that, oh, I'd only work for a couple of hours, and the part was a lot longer than I thought, and I was really dying. So find out how big the part is before you establish it.
That's what happened with Goldar. I didn't know it was going anywhere, and then all of a sudden it's like, holy crap.
It wasn't more than
Fairy tales can come true. They could happen to you if they want it.
I'm so glad you all came out to see us, and we're so happy to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wendee.
Real quick too, is a job that I had. It can't hurt to know how to sing as well, because I had done a character. Quiet. I'm talking here.
What was I interrupting you? Hi, how are you?
No, I was just going to say, it just can't hurt to just even just learn just basic singing. One of my characters didn't know it was supposed to sing, and then all of a sudden they bring in this guitar and 12 people, and I had to sing on the spot. Luckily, I knew how. Anyway, thank you. Anybody else?
I just want to also thank you for being here, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to get together, because it's great to be with this crazy family.
Yeah, thanks for caring who we are behind those voices and rubber suits and so forth. And I'd like you all just to remember one thing.
I again would like to thank all of you, and I in particular have reason to rejoice at this reunion because I left LA 5 years ago, and I haven't seen these people since then. And they continued working. I narrate audiobooks now, and I'd like to get back into this. I kind of miss it now. It was always very collegial and familial with this group of people, and it's great to see them all again, and it's great to see all of you here.
You know, for all of us, you develop this relationship with each other, and when you don't have it, you kind of forget about it. Like you know, and then you get back together. I see my kids, my little TV family kids, for the first time in 15 years, and it's like really great, and it's really wonderful. Where the hell is Furby? He's shooting someone in Singapore. He's shooting someone in Singapore. He was almost a peaceful guy.
You all know who Purvis is, right?
Thanks a lot. Purvis. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. Hi, yeah, I just want to thank everybody. These guys, a couple of these people gave me a lot of credit for stuff, and that's really nice, and I appreciate that. But the bottom line is that when we were casting and we were putting all this together, looking for the people who really are the best at what they do. And that's who we picked. And that's these people that you have in front of you. And they are responsible for the stuff that you enjoy watching. So thank you for watching, and thank them for making my job easy.
Thank you,
I just want to say one last thing. First off, you guys, we can't tell you how much we appreciate you being here. And I want you to know that I've worked with these guys forever. Besides that, I've also worked with the people who get paid too much money for doing this, who these guys should be getting more. These are the best voiceover people in the world. I've worked with them all. These are the best. So you guys are getting to see the best, and I really appreciate you guys. Good to see you guys.
Scott.